Hi, this is JilliBling of JilliBling.com, and I have a project to share with you today. It is using the Treasured Medallion bundle, and in the catalog on page 37 you'll find the punch and the stamp set. A lot of great ideas. There's also another similar punch in case you have it at home that you can easily use. Page 169. You can insert little pieces of paper to get a fancy end on your end of a strip of a paper. And this punch, I wrote on the bottom, there's little slots for the paper to slide in, and the slots are 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2 inch. And we'll be using a bit of all of those today. Because see how there's these strips of paper? So when I was making this project, originally I thought I would do the gold leafing, and I cooked the heat and stick powder just a little bit too much, therefore the gold leafing didn't stick. In some ways I kind of like it. It's kind of artsy. It doesn't work too good on the words. I will replace this and put some different words on there, but I thought I would let you see how bright the gold is, but it really doesn't work too well for the words. For me it didn't. I might need to re-ink my Versamark pad. Maybe a little bit more ink would put more heat and stick powder, therefore it would work. And usually I announce when it's a paper pumpkin project. I just use the paper, the cardstock from Paper Pumpkin. This right here. I still need to find something to do with these bears, but this is more just a project anyone can do with any designer paper you have, or even just solid paper, because the front of the card is plenty fancy. So both of these projects, I thought they came out okay, just okay, but I think the one that we're going to do today is going to come out better. Here's a stamp set, Treasured Medallion. It's got great words in it. I love this medallion. I know I'll do something awesome with this. I will use Versamark, Memento, Razzleberry, and Blackberry Bliss. And those colors, first of all, it started out with this paper, this coral paper, which I usually don't use too much. It's not in my go-to color palette, but that's okay. Change is good. Then I was trying to figure out what colors should I match and pair with it. And at first I was leaning more toward like Purple Posy and Heather, but the envelope that came with Paper Pumpkin says, how about soft seafoam? How about, it looks like there's a few different tones of yellow in here, but it really focuses on this razzleberry. So look how nicely those go together. Therefore, it's going to be Razzleberry, Rich Razzleberry, and Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to use markers, the blends. As I said, I wasn't too thrilled with how these came out, but I thought that the medallion would look beautiful colored in, and we'll do that. Hence, using Memento ink. Okay, so I have stuff all over here. Little color chart. I made this up in numbers on my computer, and I use it all the time. I reference it all the time. When you use the markers, you could see by what color they are by the cap, but you could really see what color they are when you color them onto Whisper White, and I reference this all the time. If you send me an email, I can send you my my little chart, and you could print it, and I just ran it through on my regular printer and color it in as you get markers. Okay, so let's get started. On these cards, looking at the bling, I did put on some of these gilded gems, which I think fancied it up a little bit. On this project, I put a gilded gem here, and then I used the champagne rhinestones. And this I used copper embossing powder, even though this has gold highlights. In my world, I think it's okay to mix metallics. This one is gold with gold. And today we'll try doing a little bit of the gold leafing, and then a little bit of coloring with the blends. So I'm going to use some gilded gems, maybe. And this paper here is for stamping. So let's get started with stamping the medallion. I have a plan here, and I hope it turns out well. I don't know. I haven't done this one. And I don't need the whole medallion. I just want the center part of it. Turned out good. And I'm going to take a little bit of this because I want the center little flower to be colored and cut out. Do I have scratch paper? No. Post-it. Perfect. Okay. Then get this cleaned off because we'll do the heat and stick powder in just a few minutes. Love my chamois. More cleaning. Better. Okay, so we'll use that again in just a few minutes. Okay, so we're going to color this in, just the flower. And you know, I'll come right back to the coloring in just a minute. So, back to my papers. This is going to be inside paper. This will be the card base. I've never stamped in my jammies before, but the boys are going off to the dump, and I know it's going to be quiet. So this is the card base that Stampin' Up! Gave us with Paper Pumpkin, and I want just this paper, and then this will be for, so this one is the outside, and I'm going to cut it down just a little bit, and then this one is the back. So they're here, and those, I cut the base paper in half. The Paper Pumpkin piece I cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and the inside I cut to 5 1/4 by 4. Oh, I always do that. But you know what? I think it's going to be okay. Well, adhesive removers. They're the best. You know, everywhere I try to buy an adhesive remover, they're $7, $8, maybe $6 if you find them on sale. My friend Ree, she found hers at the dollar store for $1. I told her, get me all of them. She said, okay. Who knew? I don't know why I couldn't find them for less expensive. You know what? I'm going to hold off on sticking this inside piece down for just a minute, and I'll show you why. When it comes to the placement of the medallion on those little pieces. Okay, so this can go here. Okay, so the front of the card is getting close. So let's do the stamping of the medallion. So this piece here, you could use any piece, but because I have that inside layer, I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to put adhesive right across the middle, just a strip. And I don't want that adhesive to be too sticky, so I'm going to use my robe. Shelly, if you're watching this, this is your robe. I know how you love this robe. I do too. I wear it all the time. It's still a little bit sticky. And it's okay if you don't do this. Or maybe find something that you just didn't wash that has some lint on it. I just washed that. Okay, so that's going to be covered up. But I would stamp the medallion. I'll show you why I did that right here. So I would take all my little papers, and these are just random sizes between 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1/2 inch, and just line them all up. I could do this and stamp on here, but I kind of want them to be held in place. That's why I did this. And it will make a little bit more sense here in just a minute. Put these, make sure that it's parallel with the edge of the paper. The next layers, it doesn't matter if it's too high or too low, just as long as it's right next to it. Because I'm going to snip these to have them at random lengths. Let me just make sure that the medallion is going to fit on there, which it does. Okay, so now I'm going to put this into Versamark, then into heat and stick powder. Versamark. This is Mama's pad. So I try to take care of it. All my pads are dirty. They're all great. Okay, Versamark. And do your best to have it when you stamp it that the tip is in the middle and straight up and down. Okay. So now I'm going to apply the heat and stick powder. And I know it's going to stick over here, but that's okay. The stinky heat and stick powder Whoo-wee. And get some good coverage, hopefully. It's important to have your Versamark pad plenty inked up. Probably should have done my embossing buddy. I see a little bit of residue. And if ever you catch an edge, just wipe off the powder, whether it be a metallic or heat and stick. It looks like I did that a little bit crooked. I see my tip here and tip over there, but it'll be fine. Okay, I'll move this off to the side. So now I'm going to heat the heat and stick powder, and when you heat it just until it becomes clear. If you overheat it, it will lose its stickiness and not hold the leafing. And it doesn't take long. So you could think about heat and stick powder as super fine granulated adhesive. We just want to melt it. Here's my little tray to knock off excess. Can you tell how careful I'm being? I think I blew half of that around my room. So I will, this is a brand new container. I'll pick out some of these big pieces. And I have a plan for this one, and I particularly want to focus on the outside edges, not so much the center, just because I have somewhat a plan for how I want this to finish off. Ooh-wee, look at that one. That's like 3 or 4 pieces. Well, maybe it's going to go to the center. Nothing like a new container. So I guess this is another reason that I stuck it down on this, my inside paper. It's because if they were all separate and loose, that would be a whole lot more work, rather than them acting all as one piece. I know I've been obsessed with this heat and stick powder and gilding. It's just, it's so bright. It's so pretty. I like bling. Imagine that. Yeah, I'm getting it everywhere. Woo-wee. It's like luxury, getting those big pieces. It makes it easy. Little pieces work just as good. So if you have just little pieces, you could still do this. Okay, I think they're all stuck down pretty well. Now, let's see how they stay stuck. I think my gold leafing grew in that minute I had it open. Oh, don't blow away. It'd be nice if this one came out really good. Look how pretty. See, I think this one is coming out better than my first attempt. Maybe there's more ink on the pad. And it doesn't have to be perfectly 100% cleaned off. Oh, isn't that pretty? Okay, I'm going to slowly move the... Oh, stuff is flying everywhere. Okay, I have a whole trail going to where I just set that. I have a deeper dish that I think works better. Okay, jammies. That's why you wear jammies when you're stamping. Or a robe. Okay, there we go. Okay, so next is, I want these to be random lengths. When you look at this project, oh, and this project came from the catalog. They did it in blue. Where did I see it? I saw it somewhere in the catalog. And they had, you know, in the back there's always an index. I use that index a lot. Right here. Isn't that pretty? But see how all these are different lengths? And I think some of them might be up on top of each other, but that's where this idea came from. Okay, so I am going to make these pieces into random lengths, and then I'll use the hole or the end punch to make the corners fancy. Okay, so random, and if you make it too short, it's hard to get it into the punch, but I'll show you a way around that if that happens to you. I'm going to do my best not to make them too short. And do your best to make it square. And if you go at an angle, that's okay. I'll show you how to fix that too. Okay. And I don't want them all to be perfect. I want it to be a little bit. I'll make this one shorter and the next one just a little bit longer because I'm trying to go for random. It's hard to go for random in my world. Okay, so now they're in all different lengths. So now on the punch, there's a rounded end and a pointy end. The pointy end is resemblant of the medallion, so I'm going to use that end, this one right here. I always use my punches upside down. So you could pull off these pieces, and if you didn't get enough lint on your stickum, you might have to kind of twist it to get it off. So I'll put this in here. And make the end pointy. And when I look at this, it isn't perfectly centered, but that's okay. We're not machines. And you can try to take your paper and put it into the groove. Okay, so there's the first one. That one perfectly fits in the groove. So if you cut your paper at a little bit of an angle, when you insert your paper into the punch, just make sure that this amount equals that amount and it will kind of square itself up. You don't always have to push it to the back of the punch. That one I did crooked. Well, if you do it crooked, maybe you could do it again. That's better. I want that little point to be right in the center. Okay, and I did say I would show you what to do if you cut your paper too short and it doesn't fit well. It's hard to fit into the punch. I'll show you that here in just a minute. Okay, there's my pieces and a little confetti mess. So say that this was one of the pieces that had the medallion on it. When you go to put it in, see how my fingers, I need fingers that would help me get it into there. So just take another paper, put a little sticky on here, and we're just going to elongate the paper. Okay, now I'm not going to punch this because I think I want to use this somewhere along the way. I have a few more of these to make. So now, oh, it looks kind of good in there. Okay, now I could see the end and I know where to punch. Well, that's cute. Hold on, let me do the other end. We're just going to make a handle. Where is it? Okay, so we're done with the punch. Thank you very much, punch. Okay, so the medallion on these two are nice, but it didn't offer enough wow to me. So I want to color this one, and for the colors, obviously it needs some coral in it, And then because we're using these Rich Razzleberry and Blackberry Bliss, it needs Blackberry Bliss in there. So I was looking at my color chart, trying to find a way to bridge from Blackberry Bliss and Razzleberry to Coral. So I thought, well, Cherry is good in between. And then looking at this, it looks like the pattern, these are little leaves. So I would like to use these colors. Hold on. The rainbow is coming to you. Can you see them? Okay, are you wowed? Doesn't that look pretty? Look at that. Can you see the green? Okay. So I want to use the green, and I'm going to do just a little bit of the coloring because I don't want to take too much time. So here, I'm going to do the vein, the lower parts in the leaves in dark. That's dark olive. This is light olive. Okay, next is Blackberry Bliss. I'll start with the darker. And I will do this. How about this part down here, Blackberry. The lower part of it, Blackberry, and then these little veins in dark Blackberry. Light Blackberry, and this is for this pointy pyramid looking thing. Okay, next is Rich Razzleberry Dark, and I will do this little circle. Razzleberry Light, I'll finish off the circle, kind of blending it just a little bit. I definitely want to see both of the hues of the color. This is Cherry. I hear my phone dinging. Good, we're still here. One time I got a phone call and I kept going with the video. Guess what? It turned off the video. I didn't know if text would do that or not. Okay, that's Cherry Light. This is red. I'll do red dark. That's going to be for this band going around just the edges of it. And I know I'm overdoing it on the coloring, but I guess last night I was in the mood to color. Every once in a while, I'm in the mood to color. And it's so pretty. You know what? I see a little bit of a green dot down here. Okay. Okay, so we did that. Next is Poppy Dark. And Poppy Dark is going to be these curly swishy things. And I want to do just about half of the section for coloring because I want to leave room for the light. So this swirl is completely colored in poppy, but it's half light and half dark. Okay, next is Coral Dark, and that I will do this circle with these little stripes through it, and I'll just do that solid. Coral Light will be this little band. So those of you that like coloring, you are like, oh my gosh, I love that. Those of you that don't like coloring, you're like, no way. So this is Mango Dark. Mango Light. And you could do any colors you'd like. Daffodil Dark for the center of the petal. Daffodil Light. Ha! Daffodil Light, doesn't that sound like delight? Almost. And you could use saffron, or I have pineapple, which is an old in color. But a lot of this will be covered. I'm going to put a bling over here. So if you don't have pineapple, just use saffron or like some other random color. Speaking of random colors, so I want to go back to raspberry and blackberry. And so I'm going to use, what is this one? Dark blackberry. I'm going to just fill in this background because I really want that yellow to stand out. Oh, and speaking of the yellow flower, this flower here, I'm going to color in, I'll do just one of the leaves. I'm going to color in just the way I did on, I probably didn't need to color it all in here, but that's okay. So in all the different yellow golden tones, and I'm going to cut out just the flower and raise it up. Okay, so you see where I'm going with that. You ready for the end result? You ready? Ready? Drum roll! Where is it? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Hoo-wah! Okay, so, whew, coloring done. So, let's get to the card. And this card, I don't know if I want a greeting on it. And where are my pieces? Because this one came out so good, it's kind of hard to cover it up. But it's going to go right onto here with just a hint of the gold leafing showing through. Kind of have to line them up. It's a bit like a puzzle. Okay, so there it is, and this time I think I'm just going to leave it right in the center. This will go over the top. And just let that do all the talking, and then the verse will be on the inside. Okay, so now to attach these, I'm going to use some dimensionals, and then some of them flat. So this one I'll put flat. And I laid them out on the card front, just so I know that there's about this much room on the outside edge, and just have it parallel with the edge. Okay, dimensionals could go on to the next one. Here's my puzzle. Okay. And you could have staggered every other one, or you could do 2 up on dimensionals and 1 down, however you like. On the other cards I did it up, down, up, up, down. But this time I think I'm going to be a little bit more symmetrical and up, down, up, down. And if you're making this card, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Up as in dimensionals, down as in just stick. So this one is going to go, I hope I got it pretty well centered. Yeah, that is, yeah, maybe I'll stretch it out, give it a little bit air. So I'm going to put a little bit of a gap between this one and that one, just because this one, I want these 2 sides to be equal. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it's handmade. Okay, there it is. So now to put this on, this is my showstopper. Right there. See, I think that's pretty. Okay, so to attach it, I think adhesive on the outside edges and dimensionals on the inside, just mirroring what I have going on down below. Well, but see, there's a pattern going on here. Okay, so between these two is dimensionals. So the outside edge is adhesive. Dimensionals go right there. See, I think that's really pretty. I colored for a long time though. I think it needs a gem here and maybe some gems on the outside. So, champagne rhinestones, gilded gems. So because that square in the center of the flower is, well, I have different sizes in this one. I don't want it to be too big. I want a little gilded gem because I don't want to take away from the detail and how it took me a while to color it. Oh, that brings it together beautifully. Okay. And champagne rhinestones, not exactly gold, somewhere in between gold and coral. Might think I planned that. Okay, this is my favorite one. And I have no plan for the inside, but we're going to do that next. What do you think? Hoo-hoo, fancy. It's kind of like a Morocco theme. Okay, I like that. So, this piece that I used as my hold down the strips piece is going to be put into, because I have the sticky here, I'm going to put adhesive here. You know, there's always another way to do things. Because if I turned it over, I know it would stick to my scratch paper. Okay, so for the inside, what should we do on the inside? Here's a stamp set. I like how this thing turned out. The little drop. Maybe I'll just do maybe 3 of these right here. Today we celebrate you. You're a treasure. How about you're a treasure, you inspire me, happy birthday. I like the today we celebrate you. Maybe I'll do today we celebrate you and happy birthday. Okay. And today we celebrate you. Happy birthday. And that can be done in Blackberry Bliss and Razzleberry. And the colors are so close, I don't know I need to determine which one is which color. I hope I could do that straight. So I'm looking at it, the edge of the stamp equals the today we. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you can hardly tell the difference in the colors. But that's okay. You know it. Okay, so now a little more heat and stick powder. A little more gold gilding. Yeah, I'm crazy about that. Versamark. Here's a fancy stamp. And I'll do it this time on the inside. Gold gilding everywhere. I'm going to have to pull out that container again. Okay. I don't know. This kind of looks like a leaf too. Like a, here we are at spring. I don't want to fall autumn leaf, but it kind of looks like it. Okay, so heat and stick powder. Here we be. Okay, there's powder on there. It's going to be hard to see it cook the white. If you put it right at the right angle, you could see it turn from powder to sticky adhesive. Take some of these big pieces, because this doesn't need too much, rather than opening that jar again. Yeah, I need a different container. Whoo-wee, look at that one. Okay, I'm tempted to flip it upside down. Stick! Stick! Guess if the heat and powder is sticky, it will stick. So if you feel any stickiness on here, like when I squeeze it, if I feel any sticky, I'm going to go back and try to put some of this leafing on here. Maybe I need to open up my container. It's just I make such a mess every time. And it doesn't have to be 100%. I'm fine with it being, oh, I can tell what you got going on there. I'm fine with that. Because it's just kind of a decoration. And you know what? Even the front of it isn't 100% perfect. Oop, I feel some sticky. Go on, little leaves. Oop, more sticky. There it is. Oop, some down here. I wonder if those new blending brushes, if that would work better than the sponge. But the sponge works pretty good. Okay. No more sticky. Okay. Moment of truth. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm thinking Stampin' and Jammies is what we all need to just try it once. Let me know. It creates more success. Oh my gosh, this is turning out so pretty. I don't know what the difference is. The front of it turned out a little bit splotchy, but this is coming out. Wait till I hold this up. You're going to be so proud of us. Oh my gosh. Okay, almost. Ooh, stuff flying everywhere. Yeah, I really need to come up with a different plan. Gilding everywhere. Okay. Jammy wipe off. What do you think? Isn't that pretty? Yes. Start the morning with gold gilding. That will do just fine. Jammies. Oh, look what Jammies did. He made it so you could see the detail. Okay, so this is going to go on the inside. Okay, so this bit of sticky strip that we used for placement of our little strips of paper is now being covered with much beautifulness. Happy birthday! Today we celebrate you. Okay, I love that. This is the winner compared to the others. Winner, winner. Okay, gold gilding girls, I love to hear your comments, and if you can, give me a thumbs up. I notice when you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I do see it. And let me know what you're thinking. And I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Bye.